9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling network on the planet.
My mic was muted. It is Wednesday, but you know what that means. We'll get into that later. This is your PR princess, your timeless elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me on this Wednesday edition. And as you can see, I am back at my old college stomping ground. So I figured I'd do a little bit quick of WWT Live since we are been all over the place the last couple weeks. But when in doubt, your timeless elite is here to give you the news on this Wednesday. Of course, we're going to kick it off with the unexpected news and passing of Ted Turner. Unfortunately, you've heard of his name, you've heard of what he does. Unfortunately, he passed away today at 87 years old. He is the Atlanta media mogul who founded CNN, but we all know as wrestling fans, founded World Championship Wrestling, and he kept professional wrestling on his superstation, WTBS, for nearly 30 straight years. And it was confirmed in a press release by CNN. It was actually confirmed by CNN in a release from Turner Enterprises, and it really talked about his life, and he really played a huge role in wrestling. At that time, Vince was really kind of at the gate right before pre-WrestleMania, trying to get wrestling to mainstream. But of course, you talk about Jim Crockett Promotions taking over Saturday Night Block under WCW banner, restoring NWA style wrestling. And we know many people that have done WCW wrestling. You kind of know the names on everything, everything with WCW: Sting, Chris Jericho, Harlem Heat, Booker T, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, so many other names. But happy to be with you. And this is really a sad part in everything with Ted Turner, because he played a huge role. And here at Women's Wrestling Talk, give our condolences to Ted Turner and his family in this time of need. And he be playing a huge role in professional wrestling. Shout out to everybody in the chat: Eric, Isaac, Boza, MDB999, and yes, they be calling me Stone Cold Courtney because there's many reasons why, but you love him or hate him, he has made an impact. But since we are talking about WTPS, WCW, and everything, we have AEW Dynamite happening at the top of the hour. Yours truly will be on the call at the top of the hour. Friendly reminder, when it comes to programming, it'll be 3 hours. So you get to spend 3 hours with me. Of course, we are on the road to Double or Nothing in Queens, New York. We have Darby Allin, the reigning AEW World Heavyweight Champion, or as I call him, Evil Knievel Jr. He will be taking on the face of TNT, the Jet, Kevin Knight, one-on-one. And this is going to be a banger of a match between these two titans of AEW. We're also going to have, after craziness happening on Collision over the weekend, Juice Robinson is going to meet with a familiar foe, Jon Moxley, for the AEW Continental Championship Eliminator match. Jon Moxley, I would not take Juice Robinson very lightly, but it's going to be a banger of a match, and these two know each other very, very well. We're also going to have some ladies in action. We're going to have the unusual team of Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander taking on Mina Shirakawa and Harley Cameron after what happened on Collision this past week. Hikaru Shida wants to make up with Chris Statlander, and what better way to do that than hopefully get a win over Harley Cameron and Mina Shirakawa. And we're also going to have a double Jeopardy match. My main squeeze, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, taking on FTR's Dax Harwood. This has been kind of brewing for the last couple weeks because we know FTR has a big tag team match with Edge and Christian, but this is a double Jeopardy match that's been happening between Dynamite and Collision. Pretty much, if Dax wins, FTR and Tommaso Ciampa get an opportunity for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And also, if Orange Cassidy wins, him and somebody from the conglomeration will be for the AEW Tag Team Championship match. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting banger. All this and more happening at the top of the hour with yours truly on the call. And I like the matches are very short. We don't know what's going to happen with the rest of Dynamite and Collision because it's 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour of Collision. It's going to be very interesting on the road to Double or Nothing. I'm very curious on what this is going to do, but I don't know what the Double Jeopardy match is going to be, but it's going to be interesting and really get a lot of eyes on the AEW Trios Championship, which is held by the conglomeration. Obviously, with the ladies, of course, very curious on what's going to happen with Chris Statlander and Hikaru Hoshida taking on Mina Shirokana and Harley Cameron. And yes, Boza, friendly reminder, this Saturday at 8 p.m. on TBS, AEW will be hosting Fairway to Hell. We already have a match. Jack Perry, Mark Davis for the AEW National Championship match. Set your reminders up. Just remember, it is on TBS, not TNT, because of hockey playoffs this weekend. We have hockey playoffs. We have NBA playoffs happening. Lots of stuff happening in there. But yeah, just a friendly reminder, that's your Dynamite preview happening this weekend, top of the hour with yours truly. So we shall see on that. And also, and it's funny that you asked me about Will Ospreay, because we're going to be talking more in my watch along regarding Will Ospreay, because I have a few thoughts regarding this whole thing. And I feel like it's an inside job. And also my bold prediction on Jon Moxley being kicked out of the Death Riders before the end of this year. But we'll talk more on that. Will Ospreay, since we were talking about him, he actually had an interview on Forbes recently. Will Ospreay really talks about everything from his injury, how's he feeling, everything else. He recently did an interview on Forbes, and it's courtesy, and I hope I get the writer's name right, Rob Wolkenbrod. Make sure to follow him because he's a very great writer and he's done many stories of past AEW stars. This section was pretty interesting. Will Ospreay says speaking with Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, and others helped him in his recovery. He goes on to say, yeah, I spoke with Adam Copeland quite a lot about it, just because I guess he's kind of the godfather of the surgery. He's had 3 of them. I think he's had a triple fusion neck surgery. I remember when I got told how severe it was because I didn't realize how bad it actually was. I've been wrestling on it for like 10 months. It only really started getting bad around May, and then it started effing destroying me. But I spoke to him, and he gave me the whole backstory of when he found out about his surgery and what was going to happen. He gave me his number to keep in contact because he knows it can get really depressing at times. So if I ever needed to vent or bullshit, he was great. He was always a great person to call or text about stuff. There were a lot of times he was in London too, so I got to chat with him during good hours. I never felt like I text him and I have to wait until the next morning because of the time zones. So he was really good. I spoke with Kyle O'Reilly as well. He was great. I spoke with Roddy and Bryan Danielson a little bit, but not much. Everybody's just been super cool because it really is such a good group of people backstage. I feel like news got around very quickly, and it was one of those things where it was really lovely having the support of my peers and everybody wishing for me to come back. And it's very interesting when neck surgeries like that, and especially with Will Ospreay, because we know the serious neck injury. And I'm happy he did reach out to people like Edge, Bryan Danielson, Roderick Strong, who've had previous neck surgeries. And neck surgeries are not hard to really get by, because remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin had that neck surgery and people weren't sure he was going to come back? Same thing when Lita had that neck surgery. She was out for a whole year. And even when Kurt Angle had his neck surgery, and he was only out for like 5, 6, 7 months at a time after WrestleMania 19. So for him, I'm happy he is leaning on support. And it's always good to have support, and especially somebody who has been in the familiar state that you're in. I'm very happy he is able to reach out. And yes, I have been following New Japan regarding United Empire. Apparently, there's a little bit of spout between the reigning IWGP champion and Will Ospreay. Because if you saw on socials, it seems to be a little bit of tension happening. But I'm happy Will Ospreay has been reaching out to people and everything else, and just wish him the best of luck. And also switching gears to another person that obviously is going to be out for a while, Miss Stephanie Bakure. This news actually has been brewing up for the last few months. We found out her former boyfriend, whose real name is Rogelio Reyes, has been found guilty of domestic violence and attempted femicide against Stephanie Bakure. And according to a report by journalist Antonio Nieto, Reyes has been found guilty and will be officially sentenced on Tuesday, May 12th. It dates back to 2023, where Stephanie Bakure filed a domestic violence criminal complaint against Reyes while they were both working at CMLL. Bakure alleged that Reyes forced himself on her, choked her, and threw her against a wall. He was arrested on March 10th, 2023, and charged with attempted femicide and domestic violence before being released later that month. The legal proceedings have continued in the years since, culminating in Tuesday's guilty verdict. And it also comes, as I mentioned, at a time where Stephanie is dealing with an injury that's going to be sidelining her for quite some time. But also very happy to hear of the news that her ex-boyfriend did get arrested. And this is just something that has been brewing in the last couple months. Obviously, of course, we here at Women's Wrestling Talk don't appreciate anybody abusing or harassing women, because we have zero tolerance for it. All of us on the panels have had our say, and we're still going to say it right now. We do not appreciate anybody being harassed or taunted or abused in any way possible. And I'm very happy Stephanie is getting the justice that she deserves, and also finding love with Miles Bourne. That's also a new thing as well. But definitely we here at Women's Wrestling Talk have a zero tolerance when it comes to stuff like this, especially towards female wrestlers, because we be supportive of all female wrestlers from all promotions as well. But also another initiative that we also support with Women's Wrestling Talk is a Women's Wrestling Archive that our boss lady TK Trinidad created, and you could support on the website right now of the past, the present, and the future of women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might think he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Support everything that you have for the Women's Wrestling Archive. And since we are on the topic of women's wrestling for a little bit, we do want to shed some light of the Glamour Girls. You know of the tag team, the Glamour Girls, back when it was WWF. Leilani Kai posted on her socials that her former tag team partner, Judy Martin, has been hospitalized. She confirmed it on her Facebook page. She mentions, please keep Judy Martin in your thoughts and prayers. She was admitted into the hospital last night. We are waiting on doctor's tests and waiting for everybody to hear. She also went further to say that she has been in communications with Judy's sister, who's been with her since she was admitted to the hospital. But definitely very important to point out, because the Glamour Girls are definitely one of the early pioneers of women's tag team wrestling, next to the Jumping Bomb Angels, and very happy to see that. But we here at Women's Wrestling Talk want to wish Judy Martin, Judy Martin, a speedy recovery, and hopefully she does get well soon. And we do not like to see anybody admitted to a hospital. Shout out to Dion Kincaid for being in the chat. Shout out to Wheels 2025. And you had a question, Courtney, do you really think Brock Lesnar retired? I don't think Brock Lesnar is retired just yet because SummerSlam is coming to Minneapolis and it's in his hometown. So there's a lot that can happen between now and August. I don't think it's the end of Brock Lesnar just yet. It's just leading up to SummerSlam and also who is going to be one-on-one with the Beast incarnate. But only time will tell, and we shall see on that. Now, I was not here on Monday because there was a lot that happened. Obviously, of course, with the New Day asking for a release, along with many others. There has been a lot of floating reports where WWE was tasked with shedding millions in payroll. This has been an ongoing story for a while and developing. And we found out, courtesy of Fightful, has published an extensive report on the financial moves WWE has made over the past several weeks, revealing the scale of the payroll reduction mission, the speed with which talent were asked to make life-altering decisions, and the sweeping industry reaction that followed. Pretty much following up, WWE was tasked with shredding millions of dollars in payroll over the last month, and the cuts made over the past few weeks were in direct service of the goal. The timing of the revelations drew immediate backlash across the industry, coinciding with disclosure of record high TKO stock prices and dramatic executive pay increases. Most people within the industry who spoke to Fightful acknowledged that releases are an accepted reality of how WWE operates going forward, but the additional acts for talent to take pay cuts of 7 figures in many cases were met with heavy criticism and scoffed at internally. And also going into further detail, the manner in which details are presented to talent has also raised serious concerns about how performers negotiate with TKO and WWE going forward. Pretty much Fightful goes into details, was told that a number of wrestlers in recent years were approached during overseas dates about new deals, in some cases far earlier than they anticipated extensions would be offered. Some people view this as a tactic to get talent to sign before their representation could fully review the terms, though that was more of an opinion than a confirmed strategy. On the day of the masses releases, WWE approached numerous talent and asked them to take pay cuts to remain with the company, with several given just 2 days to decide. There's a lot to pack in here. And unfortunately, I was not here on Monday. And there's just many layers to go into this. Obviously, of course, with the shocking notice of the New Day requesting a release because they didn't want to take the deal that was restructured that TKO did, and they wanted to walk, which I can't blame them for that. But also it does raises a lot of questions. Obviously, of course, number one, like, you had them released on a Saturday, which was completely bizarre. But also I feel like there's an issue with internal communications. I know people always talk about the external and the communications, but I feel like there's something within internal communications that they could do. And also with everything happening, because of obviously we know Triple H re-signed a new deal. We also know Nick Khan recently re-signed a new deal where he's getting a lot more money. And that raised a lot of questions, especially when you're asking talent to restructure their deal, taking pay cuts and everything else. And also recently, and I've seen this float on socials where some of the content creators are being flagged and copyright with their reaction videos. So that also raises another flag too. And especially with this Club WWE stuff, it's like they're kind of picking and choosing on who they want when it comes to influencer wise and everything else, because they want to talk great about the product, but they don't want to direct constructive criticism. And I think this is something not just on wrestling. This is happening everywhere, especially with media literacy. I do think this is something internal comms needs to really look at. And also with the fact too, there has been a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. I agree. And at the end of the day, it is a business, but also there are just some things that don't add up pretty rightly. And also, we have seen some very, very bad moments of WWE, but this is going to be an interesting moment, especially if fans have never saw some of the dark moments within WWE. They're going to be in for an interesting reaction. And with the fact, too, it definitely is going to raise a lot of questions. I know this is going to be another conversation that's going to be happening in the coming days, probably leading up to Friday for WWT and also leading up to next week. But this is going to be an ongoing conversation to pay attention to. And also, I feel like I need to create an internal comms plan for all of this. But only time will tell. And we're just going to wrap up here with our final story, Mr. Cody Rhodes, QB1. Cody Rhodes was talking about on his podcast, what do you want to talk about? He's worried wrestling companies are sharing too much insider business information with fans, and he thinks the overload could eventually push fans to disengage from the product. He goes on to say, I'm in my head on some of the things as of late about every single piece of WWE right now and every wrestling company. Somebody needs to share and put it out there. And I think what's going to happen is an overload of information to where fans just stop caring. Like, I watched the show. I like the show. I like this guy. I don't like that guy. I like her. I don't need to know how many people were in the seats. It's wild. I don't know who's keeping all those records, but I'm getting tired of what do we need this for? Who's this for? It seems like it's doing great, you know. It's kind of really interesting what Cody says, and especially because we were actually talking about this after WrestleMania with everybody kind of invading everybody's space, sharing information, and also with the fact too, who is sharing this information to the dirt sheets? Because sometimes I'm not going to discredit everybody because there are some that are doing great work, but there are some that do really be questioned on and who is sharing that info. So it's kind of an internal thing, especially you kind of need to bring your internal comms team in because that's also something too. And I'll give you an example on what happened when Anna Jay, she called out Sean Ross Sapp on some information that he had earlier this year regarding Anna Jay. Is she going to get her contract resigned? Contacted with Shawn Michaels, but she cleared it out of the air, not only saying it on Twitter, but she also said it on a live video on Twitch, where even though her contract is expiring with AEW, she is still under contract until that expiration. So it's those things that I think it's just being mindful of, and especially because everybody wants information quick, but they don't want to verify and check the facts or any credibility. Because for me, and I said this, for me, if I wanted to get into the media side of it, I'd rather for people to remember me for my work and my credibility and the things that I get to do that are memorable. And that's something I can resent with Cody a bit, but this is going to be something that's going to happen in the coming months because sure, you're going to have influencers, you're going to have content creators, you're going to have everything that's really coming up the board, but that's going to be an ongoing conversation to have and everything else. But that kind of wraps Wednesday's WWT Live Edition with your PR Princess and Timeless Elite. You can always follow me at the top of the hour because I have Timeless Elite Wednesday. We're gonna dive into a lot of stuff. It's 3 hours. You get to spend 3 hours with me, by the way. 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour of Collision, and it's gonna be a fun time. Also, make sure to check out my socials at CourtneyNJ11 for Twitter and Instagram. Lots of content happening across the board. Make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling. I was on the call last week. Shout out to Ricky Price, who is the 2026 Golden Ticket Rumble winner. Congratulations to him. He gets to hold that briefcase for an entire year and have an opportunity for the ISPW World Heavyweight title. Myself and Honey will be at 80s Wrestling Con next weekend representing WWT. Many stars from the 80s will be there. Coco Beware, Ted DiBiase, Wendy Richter, the daughter of the Dynamite Kid, will be there. Francine will be there. So many people from the 80s. So if you want to go back in time to all the leg warmers and 80s music, feel free to come by to 80s Wrestling Con. Shout out to the rest of the WWT live team for everything that they're doing. They're doing amazing stuff, and I'm so happy for them. Also, yeah, this is pretty much wraps up it. But shout out to the rest of the team because they're doing amazing work. And also, we got to get ready for Friday because not only we got SmackDown, we have bold predictions for WWE Backlash this Saturday. So thank you all for joining Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great evening and see you on Friday.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.